Alright guys, today we're going to change out the heating element in the hot water heater. So we noticed that our propane was constantly running, the propane on the hot water heater. And when I got up here and got to looking, pulled a bunch of stuff out of the way, got up under the camper, and was looking at the back of the hot water heater. Pulled the plate off and noticed that the element itself was dripping a little bit, probably like one drop every, I don't know, about every minute and a half. And I don't want anything else to lead to any more water damage or the heating element not actually working. And judging by the back of the heating element, I don't know if it's corroded on the inside, but the outside doesn't look that great. So what we're going to end up doing is changing out the hot water heater heating element, because I feel like the hot water heating element should be keeping the water at temperature and not waiting till the water cools down all the way, then kicks on the propane, heats everything back up, and then wait until everything cools back down, then heat back up and cool back down. So it's a long cycle, and I feel like we're wasting propane. So we're going to be changing out the hot water heater heating element today, and hopefully that'll fix the issue. Now, our hot water heater does not have a switch inside to go from propane to electric. So I know some people's RVs do, but ours doesn't, and our water heater is actually located under the forward storage compartment. Alright, so when you get up under here to get all that stuff changed out, the first thing you need to do is make sure that you unplug the hot water heater. Once you pull the cover off, which I'll show you guys in a second, there's a lot of exposed wire connectors in there, and you don't want to be bumping those things with power on them. So we're going to go ahead, unplug the hot water heater, and it's a simple household electric plug-in. Unplug that, then we're going to pull the backing plate off, which will give us access to the hot water heating element. We're going to go ahead and unplug that. As so, and here's the back of, or the plate, cover plate over the back of the hot water heater. So we're going to take these two nuts right here off. I'm not exactly sure what size they are. Don't really need to know what size they are, because channel locks will fit any size. So we're going to take these off. And also, for this particular hot water heater, like I said, we don't have a switch inside the camper that goes from propane to electric. There is an on-off switch right here. I know you can't see it that well, but there is an, here, I'll take this part off, you can see it then. There is an on-off switch right there. Now this on-off switch, I'm not exactly sure. I know it turns off the heating element, but it doesn't have anything to do with the propane side. So hopefully once we get this thing changed out, we'll see some results and see a lot less propane usage. Now that we have the panel off, this jumble of wires, there is a diagram right there. If anybody is needing that diagram of what wires go where, if you have to replace any of this stuff, or if you have damaged components under here, there's your wiring diagram. Now, from diagram to actual hookup, you have power coming in. Power goes to the switch. Switch goes to one of the sensors, then jumps to the second sensor, then down to the back of the heating element. Then you have your white wire coming in and going to the back of the heating element. So one of these is going to be a high temperature shutoff, and the other one's going to be a low temperature shutoff. So meaning that once the water goes below a certain temperature, one of them will click on and send power through the system, and then once it goes over a certain temperature, the other one's going to cut off and keep you from over temping the water. And I'm not exactly sure what the water temperature is set at for this particular RV, but this should get us what we're needing and stop using so much electricity, or so much propane. Okay, so when you're draining your tank, what you need to do is when you pull this little guy out here, this is the lower spot on your tank, your drain point. So when you pull this out, all the water's going to drain out the tank. and it works, but it's not great. You can reach up here and pull on the pressure relief valve and drain it a lot quicker. Okay, so tried my channel locks, didn't work. It's really in there. So to get this heating element out, what we're going to use is a small 3/8 drive impact with a step up to a step up to a 1.5 inch socket. So we're going to give this thing a couple ugga-duggas and see if we can get it out. Yep. There she is. That would be the problem. Why the heating element does not work anymore. It busted. It busted here, and it also cracked open. Get to focus. Camera's not focusing, but it's cracked open right there. So that would be our issue. And it is completely eaten away and corroded at the bottom, which would completely explain why it's always running on propane, because the heating element itself isn't even heating anything anymore. So if you have a small impact laying around, as you can see, that'll get the job done, and it's a 1.5 inch socket. Oh, look at that, there's more cracks. This thing's all kinds of busted up. Oh, and that's why we replace and fix stuff. Now, I'm not sponsored by any of this, but the impact that I'm using, I got it from Harbor Freight. It's an Earthquake XT 3/8 drive impact. I use it on my truck, and now I use it on my camper. But this thing is great. It takes the time, it shortens the time instead of having to sit here and turn everything manually with a ratchet. Impacts are great, especially small ones. You don't need a big, huge impact to get in here and do this. You just need something small to kind of give you an upper hand advantage over what you're working on. So now we're gonna get in here and look inside the tank, make sure there's not any super corrosion going on in there, and then we'll start putting everything back together. Okay, so we got the tank all suctioned out, took a shot back and put a hose on the shot back, and I fed that hose through the hole where the heating element goes, and was able to suction out a lot of the sludge that was in the bottom of the tank, which I'm going to assume is just going to be from over time where the water has set in there. Maybe somebody didn't winterize it properly before we had it. You know, there's a number of reasons when you can have that much corrosional sludge in the bottom of the tank. And maybe it's not all from actual corrosion from the water coming in from the campground, or wherever you stay at has minerals in it, and those minerals can create the deposits in the bottom of the tank and create the sludge. So now we've got the tank suctioned out, we've got the old heating element out, and now we're gonna go ahead and hook it back up and put the new heating element in. Nice, brand new, no holes, no cracks, no busting, good to go. All right, so let's go ahead and feed this guy in here like that. screw it in by hand first. Don't just go straight to the impact, because you can cross thread this thing and then you're out of hot water heater. So make sure you get it screwed in by hand before smacking it with the impact. So now we're there on our little O-ring on there. So then we want to make sure you have the O-ring that's on the back side of this, so you don't leak it. All right, couple of well-placed ugga-duggas. And she's in there. All right, now do everything in reverse from what we did earlier, and loosen the 2 screws on the back here. The first ones I took all the way out because they were severely corroded, but these I'm just going to loosen them up just a little bit. That way I can stick the ends of the wires up under there, because this one has a, you can see that good.
It puts the
that just goes under.
hole.
This one here goes just under the screw, and then you tighten that one down. And then same with the second one. I don't know if you can see that or not. There we go. Okay, so the first thing you need to do before you get everything hooked back in here, and before you turn everything on, make sure you put water on top of that heating element. The last thing you want to do is turn the heating element on with no water on top of it. So I went ahead and removed the plug out of the low point drain to make sure that when I turn the water on, that I've got water coming out of here, that there is some water in there that is filling up. Once that's coming out of there, what we'll do is we'll put this in, and then as it continues to fill up to produce the air, we'll pull the high pressure relief valve, and then when we have water coming out of here, we're good to go. Go ahead and turn the hot water heating element back on. So, turn around, turn the water on. It's just so quiet. Yeah, I can hear it pouring in there. Flush out a little bit since we vacuumed. Oh, that's cracked. That's why they replaced it. So now that we're sure we have water over top the heating element, because we have water coming out of the pressure relief valve, so I could go ahead and turn the hot water heater back on. So the switch right here on the back side, switch it to on. Now that should be on, but you should get good and ready to go. And we will switch the gas back on and get the water heating back up and see how long it takes for the propane to kick back on. Alright guys, that's it. That's how you change out a heating element for your water tank on an Atwood water heater. What we're going to do is we've got it rolling on propane right now, so we're going to let the water heater heat back up to pretty good temperature until the water heater cuts back off. And then what I'll do is I'll cut the propane off so it's solely on the heating element, and we'll see how long we're going to have hot water for running strictly on just the heating element. As you saw before, the other one was completely corroded, eaten out. It's been busted and cracked. So that previous heating element was not doing anything. So now what we're gonna do, like I said, just let it run on propane, get it warmed up, and then see how long it lasts on just the heating element itself. The heating element I ordered from eBay. It was like 19 or 20 bucks for the heating element, so it's not very expensive. I know a lot of times they say before you do anything with the hot water heaters, go and let a certified RV technician do it. I am not certified RV technician, so you can do it yourself. The parts are cheap. Just be careful when you're doing it. Make sure you let all the pressure off the tank, drain the water out of the tank. Once you replace the heating element, make sure you cover the heating element full of water before you turn the heating element back on. All right, guys, it's the next day. I didn't hear the water heater kicking on as near as much last night, and even into this morning, the only time I heard it kicking on is when we took showers or washed dishes, or that, we used the water in the water heater. Then I would hear it kick back on. But it seems like the heater element is actually holding at temperature like it's supposed to. I do want to get back in there later and put a voltmeter on those wires on the back of that heating element, just to make sure that we are getting the proper amount of voltage coming off of the power input coming into the water heater. On that decal that's on the back of the hot water heater, there is a voltage of what's supposed to be coming in, coming out. And like I said, that diagram that's on there, if you guys are looking for that, pause the video at that point so you can actually get that diagram if you're needing that diagram. Another thing I want to mention is I didn't get a video of plugging it back in, but do make sure you plug your water heater back in after everything's said and done with. Make sure that you do have all the switches off in your RV. If you have electronic option for a water heater, so you say you have a switch inside that goes from propane to electric, make sure you have those off. And you don't want to be working under there if you have propane on or you have power on the unit. So make sure you have both of those off, and just as a fail-safe, go ahead and turn the bottle off. So you don't have any propane going in there, regardless of what the switch says. Always make sure you're safe. Always protect number one. Make sure you protect yourself. Alright, so this whole install was for an Atwood RV water heater. I have a 2001 Holiday Rambler Lumiscape 30-foot fifth wheel. This is the data plate for my water heater, in case you have the same one or you have a similar one. So like I said, I am not a professional. Be careful when you're doing this kind of stuff if you're going to do it on your own. If you like the video, hit a thumbs up. If not, let me know in the comment section below what I could have done better on. If I missed something, also let me know. Make sure you guys, like I said, like the video, subscribe to the video for more stuff, because there's no way that I'm going to be able to keep doing these kind of things if I don't know that you guys don't want to see this kind of stuff. Also, be sure to go follow our Instagram page, and you guys have a great day.